about. The fact that you're saying that today was a bad day because I didn't do anything productive, that's already part of the problem.
It perpetuates the narrative, and it fixes it in your mindset and in your belief system that this is true. That if I've not ticked things off a to-do list, it means that my day was wasted. That's so surreal.
Welcome to the Facing Love podcast. This is Nuna speaking.
And this is Jordi, and we are here to open up conversations about the lessons and importance of difficult emotional states,
How to navigate through them with more awareness and compassion,
and to bridge the gap created by the illusion of separation.
Okay, now I'm ready to record. I'm ready to get into this. This is my hoodie.
Your Udi.
I've been wearing it for 3 days now. Which brings us to the topic of this episode, which is the guilt of slowing down.
Pam pam pam. Why do you feel guilty? Why do you feel guilty, Nune?
Why do I feel guilty? Well, because the world... Oh my god, I'm actually a bit angry, I think. Or I have some sort of... I have a little bit of anger within me in this moment towards the world. Because the reason why I feel guilty for slowing down is because the world doesn't want me to slow down. And it's going so fast. Everything is so fast paced. And the values that we have are like, okay, you need to go, you need to do, you need to be, bam, 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 bam. And then I feel guilty for not fitting into that expectation.
Yeah.
And it's like, man, give me a break. Like, I just want to wear my hoodie. And bye.
I figure, I have the same feeling, and then the fear of survival kicks in for me as well. Or it feels like it's a have to thing, that you have to be quick and you have to engage and you have to participate. Otherwise, what? You're on the street. And then I feel also guilty because I'm actually very lucky that I'm privileged enough to, like, if shit hits the fan, I just go home, like, to my family or something. And there are people who don't have that. Then I feel like it goes in a circle. Then I feel like I have to do something.
Yeah.
But I was talking about this with you yesterday, how I feel like I'm a naturally slow person to begin with.
Yes.
Always. And so having to churn up this energy to be fast-paced, it's like a mythical thing to me. So I have to, like, push myself more than is natural to me as a person. So then I just get really exhausted, and I think it really perpetuates a lot of mental health issues because I'm just not supposed to be going fast like this.
Yeah, but the
Yeah.
reason why it perpetuates mental health issues is because no one accepts that this is, like, other people or your environment doesn't accept that this could be a norm for you, you know?
Yeah.
And
it's seen as like a fault.
yeah,
like
exactly.
Something that can be fixed. You just need to do this.
Yeah, you need to become a productive. You need to make to-do lists.
If you're disciplined.
Yeah, discipline. You need to wake up at 5
I don't want to be
a.m.
disciplined. Disciplined for who?
For who?
Or if I'm resting too much, it's like, girl, what are you doing?
That's not a very girl boss energy from you, Jordanka. Resting. What is your girl boss energy?
I don't care about the girl boss energy. I just want to lie down.
Yeah.
I want to be sleepy girl.
No, I understand. And this, like, this expectation, it also, there's another layer to it, which is another layer to it. Ugh. Wow, what's happening? Okay, cut again.
We're tired.
Yeah. Also, there's another layer to it, which is, even though, like, again, the world is asking you, okay, you need to keep up. At the same time, there's so much shit happening in the world that is also impossible to keep up, you know? Both, like, both in the more let's say, this injustice and just so many fucked up, so many levels of bullshit.
Yeah.
And also so many new, you know, like, oh my god, technology and all these things that are like, okay, things are happening, and you're like,
progress.
how do you, like, it's impossible. Like, I'm the kind of person that believes that we shouldn't be working more than 5 hours a day.
Yeah.
That's our limit. Like, more than 5 hours is
nice.
no.
Yeah.
And the 5 hours should also be done in with a lot of breaks and a lot of playfulness, you know. But yeah, like, so we feel this pressure from the world that we need to keep going, and then when you do slow down, because you either figure out that that's how you are, or because you really need a break, like right now I need to take a break to heal for maybe a couple of weeks, and I feel so guilty because there's so many...
Because you're physically unwell.
I am physically, I have this physical stop, like, okay, you cannot go everywhere that you want to go. You need to fucking lay down and rest. And it's like, yeah, but there's, I think I've internalized capitalism or something like that. That's what the guilt is. I think. It's this internalized capitalism. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, that's the perpetrator of all of this nonsense, you know, like having this 5-hour working thing would be the most ideal world for everybody, yeah. But it was just, yeah, it's just like the way that we've managed to construct society over all these years has just ended up in this super dystopian state where there are people who literally can't stop working because they don't earn any money.
Yeah.
So they have to, and it's horrific. And now even people who are also, you know, very happy to engage in the whole system and the whole performance of capitalism, even they're getting sick and they have to go to, like I told you, there's such a thing in this day and age as a rest therapist or a rest coach.
Yeah.
There's like a niche to teach people how to rest because it's like we've forgotten how to do so. Yeah, it blows my mind every day how also I find that there are people who don't know that this is happening, or they're like pro this system. Do you know what I mean?
I don't believe that there's people out there who are pro this system, because
there are, and I can sort of, if I try to have an objective view on it, like everything just needs balance, because okay, there's a reason that things are the way that they are, and we've gone along with it for so long, like capitalism, whatever. But just like, if it's left unchecked the way it is now, it's just killing us all. And it blows my mind that people aren't able to acknowledge that.
Yeah. It's tricky, because I know that there are people who, like, I was talking with my friend about this, that okay, someone can be like, oh my god, I'm a project manager, but oh, I really want to become this senior manager. Oh, I want to become the, I don't know what else is there higher than that, you know, like senior officer, and basically get promoted and reach my goals in this capital situation. And then I wonder, how come they never stop to think, like, what exactly are you doing? You're like this tiny human being on Earth, and Earth is like in this, you know, huge galaxy, and there's so many galaxies and stars, and like, when you zoom out into the perspective, like you zoom out and you're like, what senior officer are you talking about? Like, rest, enjoy your life, eat some good fruit, you know. And like, we've really lost also this importance of slowing down and just having a good time, and we've really given into all this, oh, run, you have to get there, get there. And it's like, wait, if you zoom out enough, like zoom out, and then you realize how tiny you individually are, then you're like, oh man, I'm gonna go chill and just
but maybe that feeling is why people do this whole thing, because they want to feel significant, you know?
That's a good one. You want to feel significant.
We're trying to cure it in our own ways, and some people are like, if I do this and if I climb up this ladder, I'm gonna feel so whole and complete within myself, like all my insecurities out the window.
Ha.
That's the hope, I guess, you know?
Yeah, I see.
Even with all of this, because this is just how it is right now, feeling guilty for slowing down, how do we still find a way to get over that guilt, or not necessarily get over, but to navigate that guilt and still find a way to have balance and to have rest, because it's essential, otherwise we die and we're going through a mental health crisis, yada yada yada. How do we still navigate this drama and find rest and recovery?
That's a really good question. Also because I had mentioned that balance is needed, because at the same time, since the world doesn't stop moving, if I take too much time away, like if I completely go into this rest mode, then that also creates some kind of imbalance also within me, probably. I'm not sure. We can look into it more, like let's talk about it and figure it out. But so you're asking me, even with the guilt, how do you do it? And
yeah,
I think, oh man, that is really hard. I guess the answer to everything forever in life is awareness. So the first step would be to be aware of the guilt, you know, like why do you feel guilty? What is this internalized voice that is telling me that, oh my god, am I just gonna lay here all day, really do nothing? I know so many people sometimes I ask them, hey, how was your day? And they're like, I didn't have a good day. I didn't do nothing. I just laid all day, you know. And they classify that as a bad day because nothing was done in terms of productivity. So just being aware that what you're talking about, the fact that you're saying that today was a bad day because I didn't do anything productive, that's already part of the problem. So the first step would be just this awareness and really allowing yourself through talking through it. Talk through it. It's like, okay, why do I feel guilty? Why is it bad if I lay? And if I do need to do some things, how can I find that balance that I think is important to find? You know, the balance of, okay, I'm still gonna do a few things in this week. I have a few goals, let's say, to move forward in some direction, whatever that might be. Coming up with a plan, almost.
I like what you said, like, because paying attention to these thoughts or what you're saying, because it perpetuates the narrative, you know, and it fixes it in your mindset and in your belief system that this is true, that if I've not ticked things off a to-do list, it means that my day was wasted. That's so surreal. And so a lot of the time I have to ask myself, when I'm in this position where I'm like, at the end of the day, feeling not accomplished, I sometimes have to ask myself, whose voice is this actually? Because it can't be mine. Because deep down, I really don't feel a way about these things. It's more of fearing the repercussions of like other people, like my external environment. And I have to think of my parents and how they were trained and stuff, like especially my mom. Like, she's not super strict with me about it, but she's strict on herself, because she's super workaholic, because her parents were workaholics, and then I feel guilty. So I think trying to remember who implanted that voice inside our heads, even if it isn't our parents, you know, it can just come from any other external person. It can be school, even, it can be work, the news.
Conditioning is programming or upbringing. I all these three words are the same to me, because when from a young age you don't have a rational thinking, like you don't have awareness, and then
No,
people.
yeah,
Yeah.
you believe everything that's told to you.
Yeah, I mean,
Absolutely,
of course,
yeah.
you just take the voices from your parents, and they're like, "This is bad," and you're like, "This is bad." You're mirroring everything. You're mimicking. So of course, and also visually, you see your parents, how they are, how much are they working, what is their relationship with work, and this idea of rest as well, and
Yeah.
what is rest to them. Because something else that I wanted to add, actually, before I forget, is that maybe the reason why we're also so resistant, or not resistant, but there's a lot of guilt in the resting, or a lot of weird feelings towards resting and not doing things. It might be connected to the idea that to rest means to be with yourself, but to truly rest, not like sometimes there's types of rest, right? There's a type that is a bit more escaping and distracting, which is still very important. Sometimes your brain just needs to not think and not be present. It just doesn't need, like, sometimes our brain needs a break. And I used to look at this more in a negative way, that escaping and distracting myself, I shouldn't do it. But now I realize that it's actually important. But there's that rest, and then there's the rest which is like, let me check in with myself. How am I feeling? What's up? What's the vibe, you know? And that could be scary to some people. When checking in, you discover that, oh my god, what am I doing? I have no idea, you know? So maybe also the resistance to rest. Because like for example, my mom, oh my god, this woman doesn't rest. I'm like rarely rests. When she's home, she's not working, she'll clean the whole house. She'll like remove all the kitchen cupboards and take them out and do a deep cleaning, you know, or just like she's like, no, I like cleaning, and then she's singing while she's cleaning, she's enjoying herself. But she's one of those people that I've noticed that she doesn't rest in a way that is like, okay, let me take some moment for myself, you know?
Yeah.
Except when she's having coffee, maybe. But
Yeah. Relate to my mom too.
Moms, huh? That's another thing.
Moms.
That's another thing. There's also gender.
Absolutely.
Gender what? Gender
Norms, expectations, socialization.
Gender socialization, that women rest less from the times of the patriarchy, the pure times when.
Yes.
But not really, because also men would go to work, so it's.
But actually, women, I think even statistically, still do more labor.
Yeah.
Because they also do emotional labor.
Yeah.
And so you're sort of trained to overperform also as a woman.
Yeah. So
rest is more acceptable within men, I think.
Because
I think it depends on the culture also, but in general, I think it's some people may disagree with this, but so let's say men are expected in the more traditional blah 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 roles of things, like they go to work, they make the money, they come home, they provide for family because they went out to work. And then women are expected to be more nurturing for the family, take care of the house and raise the children. That's a lot. That's a job, and it's underestimated how much physical and emotional labor that actually takes to do all of those things, when the labor of just going to work outside is that's one thing. But if you're taking care of the house, children, like having to plan for the future, and then also when the man comes home, having to take care of him and stuff. I'm not explaining it as well, but the balance is off. And then if you're just staying at home, you don't get days off.
Yeah.
There's no vacation. You don't get a moment of rest. So then women have this mode of just keep going.
Because it's considered more like your home, so you're not working. And also when men used to come home from work, from their 9 to 5 jobs, they would rest then. They would come to rest because they've gone to work. while women is
Yeah.
like, you weren't really at work, you were just taking care of
You
the
weren't
house.
doing anything,
Yeah.
and it's like,
So that has,
fuck you.
yeah, that has definitely lingered into today. Like, it has definitely left an effect on, this gender. I don't know.
Expectations.
Yeah.
Blah, blah, blah. Yeah. Do you feel that way sometimes? Do you feel this pressure to be more engaging with facing love?
Oof, ouch, this is gonna hurt. Yeah, oh man. I'm telling you, sometimes I've taken a full day of doing nothing, staying in bed and just chilling. And then by the end of the day, I'm gonna get up. I'm not gonna let this day go by fully without me doing, even if it's just to clean my room or to just do something, just something a bit more productive. So I could stay the whole day in bed, but like at 7 p.m. it's like, okay, let's do something. That's there. So even with facing love, a lot of times I fight. There's such a big fight between, okay, I'm gonna take this with my own flow, my own pace, and I want to be this, not prototype, but this I want facing love to represent something that I believe in, right? So if I believe that you should rest more and you shouldn't work more than 5 hours, or genuinely. So I want these values to be seen in facing love. So the fact that maybe we're not as active or as, we're not a production machine. We're not putting out an episode, bam. So, what's the word? Fucking hell, it's so hard to think. Consistently. So we're not putting out episode as consistently and as like, okay, here we go. Which most of the time I'm fine with. Like, I'm like, okay, yeah, this is the vibe that we're in. Especially we've gone through months of really just figuring things out or going through our own bullshit and like being like, oh my God, I can't. For a few months I was like, I'm. But then there's this little part of me which is like, but also you should be. Come on, girl. You can't just like be like, yeah, you should. You have to. Which I don't know if it's as bad, as long as there's this balance and it's not done. See, that's the thing. If this voice is nice to me, and if the voice is like, girl, remember what you want to do in this world? And I'll be like, I want to spread all this, knowledge and information and open dialogues, I don't know, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, well, let's check in. Where are you? What's going on? Do you feel like you're moving towards that direction more and more? If that voice was like that, I would be fine. Yeah. It would be like, cool, you're checking in on me. You're making sure that I'm on the right track, that I am still true to my values and I'm going forward. But if the voice is like, oh my God, Nune, you haven't done anything for this time. I didn't send a newsletter again for probably 2 months again, and I completely forgot about it. Like, life has been I don't know, a lot of things have been happening. Actually, the reason why I didn't send a newsletter is not because I was resting. It's because I was so overwhelmed with putting myself in so many situations, because I am like, I need to be there and I need to do this and I want to do this, and I'm like that. Yeah, I'm doing the opposite. I'm not
so
resting at all. I'm not a rester. No. The capitalism is strong in this one. No rest for the wicked. But for example, I didn't send the newsletter for 2 months now. And then the voice is like, oh, no, you're not consistent. Like, wow, like a lot of shame. So I would be fine if the voice was a nice voice, making sure that that I am sticking to my desires. But that's the problem, that the voice is not a nice voice. The voice is a bitch, basically.
The capitalism voice is usually a bitch. Yeah.
How do you see facing love?
Well, I also preach I preach a lot about rest to everybody anyone who will listen to me. So I try to embody it because that's what I wish the world was like. Just having the ability to just, even just disappear. Sometimes I just disappear and I feel guilty for vanishing. And I'm like, fuck,
Yeah.
I just like popped off the face of the earth. And then later when I reflect on it, I'm like, actually I really needed to do that because I was about to lose my shit. I was on the brink of insanity. And then I'm like, okay, again, I go into this thing of I'm really trying to just be the kind of person who just does that without shame so that it becomes a norm. So with Facing Love, I really wish that the rest of the internet could be like, okay, you don't have to be a productivity machine.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to be like that. But then when you're not being a productivity machine, there's this sense of being left behind, or not living up to people's expectations, letting people down, or letting yourself down because you believe in this thing, so why isn't it being represented in this physical energy? I don't know. And it's like this, it's a vicious cycle. And I tried to come to terms with it and tried to find my own level ground of still being true to myself while creating, because I can't create unless I've rested. I mean, there's some people who can just churn out stuff, but I literally cannot. And I think there's a fear some people around me, I've heard say that if they were to rest too much, they would just never get up again and do anything ever again. Like they would get really lazy or something. But for me, like I get bored too. I have to rest, and then all of a sudden I'm like, okay, now I have all this inspiration and I can do shit and da. So I'm trying to learn about my cycles as a person instead of going against them and going with somebody else's cycles, which is difficult to navigate with. Also, another point I wanted to add is being a neurodivergent person in this whole dynamic is very exhausting because and it makes it even more necessary because I have ADHD and I only realized it recently, but my mind is like going at like 1,000 miles per hour, and it doesn't show physically that I'm doing this, but mentally I can feel it. So it doesn't feel like I rest enough, and I'm always exhausted because of what my brain is constantly doing. And so if I don't actively put the time in to have rest and recovery, I just crash. Like I go into full-on brain shutdown mode, and then that's horrible. So trying to have respect for that and know that, okay, how people view the system and how you should be a productivity machine doesn't cater to that kind of way of thinking, being like neurodivergent.
Yeah, this goes back to the same thing of the world is structured in such a way that is just for not one type maybe, but very like few types of people,
Yeah. And everybody else is just screwed.
Yeah, just even again, like the neurodivergent is an example. Then there's LGBTQ, how they're not at all taken into consideration, like whatever, because we all have different needs, right? And also goes back to men and women and how, especially the work structure, like the work structure is very much created. Yeah, it's created around men's needs and like not even a little bit, not even just a tiny like we're gonna go on a full rant on this because we're both women, but I kid you not, like a week before my period, if you come talk to me, I will eat you. Like don't talk to me. I don't know, it's just pure pure hormones. And I've
Oh my
also
God.
you and me and a lot of girlfriends that they've shared how like that week their whole mood shifts so much that they become
Dramatically.
existential and depression, and it's really really bad. And it's like that's when I don't want to do shit for sure. Like I can't fucking write emails, or I don't know, I can do the work, because all I'm thinking about is how everything sucks, how I'm worthless, how I have no friends, and how the future, there's no future, and the earth is collapsing, and there's so much injustice and wrong things in this world. Like,
Oh my gosh, yeah. These things, oh, it frustrates me so much. Like the other day, I was on that mark of like the 6 to 7 days before my period mark. Hell on earth. And I was on that day, and I always forget. Like I go through hell, and it doesn't occur to me that it's hormonal until I check way later. And I was unable to get up. Like I was sleeping the whole day, and my mom was genuinely concerned for me. She was like, "You're deficient. You're deficient in your vitamins. We need to check you for an infection. What's wrong? Why are you still sleeping?" And I was like, "Girl, I don't know. You know, like what's happening?" Like. And then the end, like literally, I was asleep the whole day, and then I checked my phone at the end of the day, and I was like, "Oh,
right.
And then the month before that, I was like crying,
it's
hysterical,
true.
And there's always something, and these things aren't taken into consideration, like, and it makes me so mad, so mad. Yeah, but I think it's up to us to enforce these things in our own lives somehow, and try to learn about our bodies, and try to learn about our minds and how they're just different and unique, and like deserve to be respected and created space for. And if there's no space, like you make space and you create the environment for yourself that you deserve to be in, which is easier said than done, but yeah.
You're right that we all have this individual responsibility to figure it out, and also so important to ask this from the outside world as well. Like we have to come up and be like, "Yo, listen, I'm gonna rest. I'm not working," and
demand like societal change.
Yes, exactly. And it's on. Unfortunately, it is on us to demand it, and the more we demand it, because supply and demand, right? That's how this world works, apparently. So demand it, so that changes can actually happen. You know, more and more. I want to see more people be like, "Hey, I'm not doing this," which I am kind of seeing. I think, which more people being like, "Hey, listen, I can't work because I'm on my period and I feel horrible," you know, or "Hey, listen, I'm really depressed today. Like I'm having a depressive episode because of my mental health, and I can't come to the office." And it's really sad that also these things, I think the guilt is fed to us, and it's really important to be aware of it, so you can just, "No thank you, I'm not gonna eat this bullshit." Because let's say someone who has a mental health, illness. Is that what it is? Oh my god.
A mental illness?
A mental illness. Why are words so weird today? Anyway, so...
Today is the sleepy day.
Yeah, it's
It's the sleepy day.
It's this kind of a day. It's been like this for 3 days now. So imagine someone who has a mental illness and they get a job. And to get a job also you need to state that you have any kind of disability, because they need to be aware. And a mental illness is considered a disability, which...
Is it?
That's a whole other... Yeah, with the idea of, let's say, disability as in I'm gonna need special treatment, as in, you know, disability is, hey, you know, like all kinds of disability. If I am disabled because I can't walk, I need the elevator, and you need to provide the elevator for me, you know? So I need special assistance, special treatment. Yeah. It's really weird that disability has such a bad negative connotation. Is that the word?
negative
that's
connotation.
really a whole other thing. But anyway, that's a whole other
I
conversation.
think it's the same thing because it goes along with the whole, if you're disabled then
Actually
you can't
true.
perform under the structure
exactly. Yeah, that's what I was
productivity,
gonna say. Exactly. The fact that, okay, so I have a mental illness, that's a disability, I need to declare it in order for you to know, because one day I'm gonna have a breakdown, maybe one day I'm gonna have a really bad episode, and
Yep.
you have to give me that day off, for example. If I call you and I'm like, listen, I'm having a really bad day mentally today, I can't come to the office, and they are required to, like, give you that day off, because you've stated from the beginning that this is this is how I am, basically. But I think it's really crazy that they might do that, some officers, but at the same time, the way that they do it is like, fuck, we have to give you a day, fuck, man, this is not good for the... And it's really interesting, actually, at this last training that I went, we explored a little bit this idea of, it comes back to empathy for both sides. Because of course the company has to think about they have a goal, right? Like, imagine it's Facing Love company. So our goal is to put out more episodes on empathy, for example. So our goal is important to us, and we have like 5 workers, whatever, and they are important to us as well, because they help us get this content out, which is really important, because we want to, I don't know, help people, right? So if 2 of them suddenly they're like, we can't work today, we can have enough empathy to be like, okay, you can't work today, I'm not gonna fucking force you and I'm gonna make you feel bad. But at the same time, there should be a certain level of empathy or understanding from that side as well, that this also has an effect on the company and on the process and on the goals, So for sure, we can postpone it, no problem. But if it does happen way too often, then it does have an effect on us as well,
Yeah.
So we need to figure out.
Mindset, It's like an evolved mindset to be thinking of the company in that way, like people are very much thinking of the short term only. Like, even that there's even such a thing as sweatshops just goes to show that the care for the health of employees is still not considered, and it's more about the intensity of the production that's cared about. And even if you quit or you get sick or whatever, you can just be replaced, because there's always people who want a job or who need it, and that's just made clear because the system continues churning it out. It's very sad. Like, even as you were speaking about this, I was even thinking of like, the fact that there are even some places that are like, well, you have a mental illness, so I'm gonna give you cater to your mental illness in school or work. Like, even that's not so common, that's only in places where people have really forced issues with the companies and with the institutions, and some change has been enforced, but it's not as much as it should be. Boo.
No, it's true, because because collectively we are just producing and not thinking, really not resting and not enjoying as much.
Yeah. What I've sort of come to the conclusion with these things of, because a lot of institutional change has to happen, but we all have to be participating in it. But we can't all participate in it unless we all have the emotional and energetic capacity for it. But if you're not already enforcing rest within your own personal life as an individual, you don't have the bandwidth, you can't stretch yourself that far. You're like, dude, like, I can't even think about these things. You get burnt out. So it's like, okay, it has to be both, working on the individual and the systematic, but you first have to start with the individual, because they're the ones who are going to join you,
exactly.
And teaching people individually how to rest and how to chill the fuck out, and then when they're rested enough, then they can be like, okay, let me think about these things now. So yeah, it's also the same case in trauma care, mental health care. Like you have to, there's so much, and this is, I think, the big one that's gonna really make a shift in this whole resting business, like mental health care, because there are not enough resources for this bullshit. But just individually working with people and embodying it yourself and being an example to other people that it's possible to be able to create in your life, but also respect your own recovery time. And then from there people join you and you create movement. I think that's what they call holistic activism, you know, because I've been super interested in this term of holistic activism, where the activism that's normalized now is this go, fight the system, bah, bah, you know, going to the government and saying fuck you. But that's exhausting. Like, that's so exhausting, and you're already tired, and then you burn out immediately, you know, because you can't keep it up. So holistic activism is, okay, how can I embody my beliefs and find a way to find some rest and recovery so that I have the capacity to still engage with this societal change instead of just going full force, you know.
I really like
so
that
then
you said
resting is activism, and it's a revolutionary act.
Resting is activism, bitches.
It is activism.
No, I really like that you said that. Actually, I want to reply to a couple of points. So first and foremost, for sure, you have to embody the things that you preach, because otherwise it's like, if I don't do them, then why am I expecting someone else to do it, you know? Like, how can I expect someone else to do it if I don't do it as well? Like, that's a weird incongruence. Like, it just doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. Like, if I'm like, oh my god, you shouldn't eat meat, but then I eat meat, like, why am I saying that someone else shouldn't do something and I'm doing it? So this idea of practice and embody your values. Like, if rest, first of all, also to fight the internalized capitalism, rest, fight the guilt, you know, work through it so that you can actually rest. And then when you prioritize also your rest just as much, then you also demand that from other companies or stuff like that. You'll be like, okay, no, I'm not going to do that because I'm going to prioritize my rest today, you know. And then they will, you create activism, you create like the butterfly effect. Like with your little wings, you're like, I'm not gonna do that, I'm gonna rest. And then the company's like, oh, I mean, I don't know how much, I don't know how much it affects, but it definitely does something. It's a little butterfly, don't forget.
Especially if everybody is chipping away at it.
Yeah, if everyone did, then we become stronger together. And also, I guess this also connects to this thing that you said about activism, which is like, so rest, so you yourself rest, and that becomes your act of activism, you know.
Absolutely,
you're literally fighting against the system by resting, like
by the resting itself, but also in the fact that you can only do anything else beyond that because you've rested. That's double. So the fact that you're resting, you're saying, I'm not going to participate in your stupid little system of 9 to 5 and then more work and running. Like, I'm not going to do that, you know. I'm going to go over here and rest. And it's going to be, this is what I mean, like, it's a hard fight. It's not like it's hard because, like you said, if you're privileged enough, you can do this. But when you're not privileged, yes, exactly. When you're not, like, it's a whole other story.
It's you fighting tooth and nails to rest. You're like,
absolutely.
I'm gonna rest, even if that means that my bank account is gonna be lower, you know, than the guy who's not resting. And it's like, for now it's a sacrifice. I think there's a possibility to also shift that. There is a way to have both. It's just that it's really hard in this system, and it takes a lot of will and dedication and intention to be able to rest and also reach a level of, I don't know,
and community.
Yeah, community, yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
I do believe it's
because,
possible, yeah.
it's possible, but also I think it's gonna take a while because,
Yeah.
like, let's say the people who are less privileged and literally they have to go and do all of this because they need the money.
Yeah.
You know, they don't have the resources to take them out of this whole drama. But then, if we all collectively, like, group together and in our own tiny ways find a way to have more rest in our lives, if we can, if we have the ability to do so, it chips away at it.
Yeah.
And like it changes the system as a whole, which then helps people who are in less privileged places have more access to these kinds of things when before they had nothing.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Yeah. At least that's my theory of it all.
Community.
But it's much more, yeah, community is key. Community and, yeah, community awareness and care and all of that, it's key. But you can only have the energy to create and implement these things after you've rested. You know,
Yeah.
it's a cycle.
It's a cycle. And also
It's
when
exhausting,
you rest,
yeah.
it's exhausting. And when you rest, you realize what you want to. You have time to realize what am I trying to create. When you're not
Absolutely.
resting, when you're constantly running, it's like you're running after one thing after the other, and it's like, oh yeah, this is it. But it's like no. You
Yeah.
need to rest to figure it out.
Time to embody what we've just been talking about.
So now I'm gonna go rest some more. Although I've been
Yeah.
resting for the past days, and it's been actually I'm resting, but I'm also doing tiny work here and there just because I kind of that's the thing, I have to. I can't just throw everything. But I'm really like, I feel like the universe is like, Nunilka, you get your ass down. Like, especially when something happens with your health. I've had this a couple of times that I've been almost paralyzed, like in this level. Like I remember not last year in 2021. Yeah, oh my god, with my do you remember like
your arm?
I was like, I can't move, I can't cook, I can't do anything. And also it's psychological. So really, when the universe gives me slaps like this, I realize that I need to fucking chill down, because I've been overextending myself. Even if I haven't been working, I still extend myself in other ways, in like social, you know, like because I have anyway. So it's nice to be reminded, like, yo, go rest and please cálmate.
Same. And I appreciate conversations like this, you know, because it's also a very complicated topic.
Yeah, it is.
And a lot of people have their own experience and their own perspective on this particular topic. And, you know, it's very interesting to hear other people's view on this. So, yeah, I know after we post something like this, it would be really interesting to hear other people's feedback on how they experience such a thing like this, because from my experience, it's always been something completely different when I hear people talking about the subject of rest. Yeah.
No, I think we dived into more than one aspect of it, so it's it hits a little bit of the complicated the complicatedness. Is that a word?
Yeah.
The complicatedness of this thing.
Yeah, the complexity.
Complexity, my friend. That's better. Complexity. Cool. I missed your face, by the way. I'm glad that our faces are showing again. Did you miss our face? Did you miss our face? Look at our faces. I think people missed our faces, I'm not gonna lie. We cute as fuck, boy.
We so cute.
Yeah. Bueno, that was nice. Let's go rest for now, you know.
Okay.
And you also go rest. Like, take a chill pill.
I'll chill. But same as you. I got shit to do.
You got shit to do? You got shit to do, but you don't. You need to rest.
I'll rest while I'm doing my shit. I will try.
Bueno.
I can't do that.
Take a rest.
Okay, bye. Bye.